2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
How do I let go of resentment for good?
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
Brannon, how's it going, man?
It's going all right. How are you?
Going good. Still getting used to doing this live recording thing on Wednesdays, but by and large, it's awesome, man. We've been having a good time with it.
Yeah, I got to get in the swing of things a little bit. My Wednesday mornings was full of like staff meetings and stuff. So yeah,
I'm just happy to see your face here, and I think our listeners probably are too, because they had to deal with me all by myself last week.
No, it was funny, the comment that you got at the end.
The comment. I have a feeling I know who that was.
Yeah. So. I know who it was too. So, they'll have to go back to the episode and check out what that comment was.
Go back and watch last Wednesday's episode and realize that Brannon actually watched me do the episode by myself and then put a comment in at the end to be a wise guy. So
yeah, I just got to keep you on your toes a little.
Yeah. Well, hey, we before we jump into this today, we've actually gotten a few extra reviews. We love your reviews, so we're going to just share one that came through a little while ago. Thank you for all of your reviews and your feedback. This one says, this podcast has been saving my mental health. I just really want to thank you both. This podcast is the best podcast I've ever heard of, and I am an avid listener to many. You guys are so on point, so helpful, so knowledgeable about the subject. Only someone that has gone through all this can be so assertive. I found you guys while searching out how to understand sexual addiction. Episode 58 should be heard by everyone and anyone. Another one that I loved and want to thank for is Jesse, his vulnerability on number 379. That has helped my decision more than I can tell you. I'm going through so much, and you have helped me understand my husband's addiction while keeping my decisions firm. I scheduled a call with you, but I chickened out last minute, and I do regret it. I will try again. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you for the review. And yes, please come on our show. We'd love to see you. We'd love to talk with you.
Love to have you. Love to meet you. That would be amazing. So, all right. Well, we have a guest that we've had on a couple of times, actually. And so I'll let her get us up to speed as to what's going on. But Sandra, welcome back to the show.
Hi there. Thanks for having me back.
Mm-hmm. If you could give us just a little bit and talk about what we've talked about in the past and then bring us up to speed as to what's going on now.
Sure. So the what we're working through, my partner and I, is infidelity and lying, deceit, betrayal, all of that good stuff. We actually first came on together, the podcast, and really it was centered around him and guidance towards him and how he can get out of his poor choices and behaviors. And then the next time I came on was a number of months later, and I was just having feelings of not knowing if I should keep trying, and really when you finally call it quits, and is he making real progress? And ultimately, it was just feeling like very tiny progress, and oftentimes steps back, and it just didn't seem like we were moving at a pace that was going to get anywhere close to a relationship that I desire in any foreseeable future. I mean, it just seemed like it would take not years, decades. Mm-hmm. So we had been moving towards parting ways, and that is what we are doing. We are going through the process of, we are separated. We're going through the process of divorcing. I think we are very clear on that. We do have a child. He was unfaithful during pregnancy, which was very, very difficult. And we are now navigating co-parenting. I would love to be in a place of co-parenting in a very, very loving way. But I tend to find just that there is so much built up hurt and resentment that it's really tough for me to do when he is over and with our child. It's almost like I always find something that he's not doing right, not getting here on time, not, doing his part. And it doesn't feel good. And I often just look at him and I think of all of the things that he has done and his behaviors, and they're just so awful and atrocious that I can't find the compassion in my heart. I try to get there, and then everything just keeps flooding in, and how hurtful the things that he has done have been to me. So I want to find peace. I want to have love for him again. I do love him as a human being. I really do. But I want to truly have compassion for him so that we can do our best for our child.
So you're currently in the process of divorce. You're not divorced yet.
Correct.
Okay. And how far along is that? Have you done mediation? Like, is it happening soon, or?
It is happening. We are in mediation. So my view is that there is no turning back. I mean, if he could totally change into a different person, it just seems way too drastic for everything that he's done and for what he would have to turn into. So I don't see any turning back. I'm not sure if that is part of the question, but.
No, I would actually hope that you feel that way, and that you're staying honest with yourself about the situation, and that you're not trying to cling on to something that's not there. So,
there are parts of me that are.
Yeah.
Because you still want that, but I know I do pull myself out of it pretty quickly.
Is this kind of place that you're finding yourself in? Is there new energy? Is it some place that you've been for quite a while? This anger, this resentment, this kind of holding on, this like bitterness every time you see him. Is that?
It's new. I have always had parts of it, but I think I have a more clear head now where I'm able to look back at everything, and I just look back at the things, and they are so awful. I don't know how another human can do that to another human. I also sit and I say, how could I have stood for it? And part of it is, I've used the phrase being boiled like a frog. I think that was part of it, because I just think that it was trickle truth here and there. And I was manipulated at points to think I was doing things wrong by not trusting him. And so anyway, it's very awful. And there is an additional part in the mix that's going to make it really, really hard for our child. I'm sure she's going to end up finding out about his infidelity. He's going to have to tell her at some point. And it's going to make it hard for him to be a fully present father and to be there for our child as much as I think he and I would both want him to be. And I just sit and I look and I'm like, that is your fault. Like, this is your doing. You did this horrible, horrible thing, not only to me, but now to our child. And so there is more energy. And I have a more clear head. So I look at the things and I'm just like, yeah, those were really awful.
So in a certain sense, the clearer you get, the less desensitized you are, which then makes the things that you've experienced in the past feel bigger, but then also whatever's currently going on in the relationship is adding to that because it's added complications. And I'm hearing almost like a piece of like a lack of sensitivity and justice to in what you're saying, whatever the situation is.
Yeah, that's interesting. That justice piece, I guess, is actually a decent part of it. Huh.
You wanting justice, but not feeling like it's
never going to happen.
Well, but then I also I'm torn because I think I don't know what justice means in this situation either. And I don't actually want anything negative for him. Part of me wants everybody to actually know who he is, for a couple reasons. One, because I think maybe they could be a support system to help him. And then there is, of course, a piece of me that wants people to see I just want to feel heard and seen, I think. But yeah, so I don't want anything negative for him, but I want the life I wanted. I want our child to have the best upbringing, to have the most amount of time with her father that she can, to have the best version of him. And I think that stuff isn't going to happen. I mean, yeah.
Sandra, it's interesting. I kind of heard you say in there that there's a part of you that wants it to come to light and for justice to happen because you feel so isolated and alone in your pain, and it would be nice for people to understand like why and what you've been through. Is that accurate?
That's very accurate. That's actually something we're struggling with at the moment, is how to tell my family in particular about this, because it's not going to be good. And what I worry about a lot is the impact that it could have on our child, right? Like, could there be negative talk about him in the future? And that would never be good for our child to hear negative talk about her father. But that happened with my partner. His father, had some bad behaviors, and people close to him talked negatively about him, called him an asshole. And that didn't feel good for my soon-to-be ex-husband. And so I don't want that same thing for our child. I want our child to have a unique, not unique, but be able to make their own judgments and and thoughts and have their own relationship and not have it be influenced by other people talking. So we just worry about, can we even share the full picture of everything with my family?
Interesting.
Okay. So one more thing before we kind of get into some solutions here.
Yeah.
Some other kinds of thoughts. I just want to check out a few things. being in the situation that you're in, unfortunately, is actually not all that uncommon. And if you're feeling totally alone, I just want you to know that you're not. And we could probably connect you with, hundreds of spouses that we've worked with in the past that would be doing this very same call. And some of the themes that seem to be present when trying to overcome this. So what you're really coming on today and asking is, man, I know that I want to move forward and make it the best possible for myself and for my child, but I'm having a really hard time letting go of these feelings. And for many spouses who are in the same type of a situation, there's like layers to this. So the first layer is sort of the pain of the loss of everything that you can't really put your finger on. Hopes, dreams, possibilities, lifestyle. And there's like this, we call it ambiguous loss, where there's this grief that's actually taking place over things that are hard to put words to. And then you have a second layer of that, which is what we were just talking about, which is like, I've experienced something that feels totally legitimate to me, but there is no real validation for the pain that I've experienced because nobody really either knows or can understand, least of all him, which is where I'd want it to come from the most. And it's probably not going to happen, at least for quite some time. And then you have the third layer, which is the justice piece, that it feels like, we as human beings, we live in this place where we all have what's called the just world theory, which is, if it isn't justice, then somehow that might mean something about me, or I'm not going to be able to let it go until there is justice, because that's how we're wired. And then you have the fourth layer, which is, and I still want to move on, and I want it to be as good for my child as possible, which means I have to figure out how to have peace and love towards this person who has done all this damage for the sake of my child, even if I'm still going to leave them and be boundaried. And that gets really, really messy, and it's hard to sort of untangle all of those different threads because it all balls up like one big ball of yarn, and it's hard to know where to start. Are we close with that?
Yes, very. Yes, right on.
Would you add anything else, Brannon? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's really good. I do want to start to dig into how to move forward. And how to get unstuck with that. But I think, Tyler, you just outlined really well why you're feeling what you're feeling, Sandra. But I you've come on 3 times, and it's really interesting. If you look at the 3 episodes in comparison, we're watching a process of grief unfold. First episode, you were in some denial, Sandra. And you know that now, right?
Yes.
There was some...
That first episode, it was almost like the scales of denial were just, we were watching them be pulled off your eyes while we were talking to you.
Yeah. And you were hoping for something that wasn't there. When you look at grief, all's grief is trying to come to terms with a reality. And when reality doesn't line up with what you think it should be or how it's supposed to be, then you grieve. And grief is a process of acceptance. First phase of grief is denial. I'm in denial that this is the way that it is. Second episode, there was more sadness, more depression, and more just kind of, we were getting real, and it was hard. It was sad, right? Mm-hmm. Now the next step in grief is anger. and so where you're at right now is good. Like anger serves a purpose. There's a function to it. And you're not divorced yet. You're realizing you've been in an unsafe environment. What's the point of anger, Sandra?
To identify or uphold your boundaries. Is
okay,
that?
Yeah. And why? Why should you identify and uphold those boundaries? What does that do for you?
Gets you closer to you and your values and meeting your own needs.
Exactly. It helps. That's well put. It helps you live in your truth. And when you're married to an addict, they'll ask you to not live in your truths for as long as they can possibly get you to do that. And so that anger is so important because it's like, hey, Sandra, like, feel this, wake up. Now, what happens a lot of times is there's a kind of a recoil, there's a pushback where you respond in more anger than really what is in your integrity, what feels good to you.
Yes.
And, right. And that's what I'm kind of hearing you try to gauge in yourself of like, I don't want a heart that's at war. I don't want a heart that's that has hate in it, because that's not who you are. Right, Sandra?
Yeah. I'm like tearing up as you're saying that. I mean, you are hitting that right on the nose. Like this stuff all comes up, but right after it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. It's like, I don't want to live there. I don't.
It's not Sandra.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on one hand, the anger's good and it's there to protect you and it's helping you get to your truths. And on the other hand, the anger is pushing you beyond that and pushing you outside of who you actually are. And this is totally normal, Sandra, with where you're at with it. And so it's really helpful to get conscious of what's going on. The next stage to grief is bargaining, and I can hear you in that already too. I want to love him. I want him to be a good dad. How's that going to work for our daughter? How am I going to make sense of this and have this work for us? So you're kind of in that anger bargaining phase at the same time right now, which is totally normal. You're going through mediation right now. You're not fully divorced yet. Like
mediation is bargaining, Brannon.
Yeah, exactly. You're spot on, Sandra, with where you're at right now. Okay. So I think we need to start there. Like, give yourself permission to be right where you're at in the grieving process.
Okay.
Could I give a few tangible things for each of these layers that we were just talking about?
Please.
So the first one is the grief part, just overall grieving and loss. Sometimes the organism of the body and the brain have a really hard time even processing those things until it can start to crystallize what those things are. So with ambiguous loss, they call it ambiguous loss because it's hard to find words for it, because a lot of times it's more emotionally based, things like that. So something that can be helpful, and this is something that I do with a lot of my groups sometimes, is we do an actual art project called the assessment of losses. And you try to put in some kind of, even if it's stick figures, you try to put in some kind of form out in front of you a lot of the things that you're actually losing, that your body is responding to as a result of the changes in your life. So, make a picture or a song or a poem or something that depicts some of those things that you're actively grieving, even though you might not be consciously actively grieving them. Hopes, dreams, possibilities, beliefs, spiritual beliefs, relationship stuff. Go through every single aspect of life and ask, what am I losing here as a result of what I'm experiencing? And then let it be put out in front of you so you can see it, let your brain process it from in front of you, and then share it with somebody that you trust and have somebody hear and hold those things, because those things are looking for a way to then move into that other place, the second part of that, which is validation. Those things are legitimate. They need to be validated, even if it's only by you. So the first one is that art project of losses. The second one is then the things that you're currently going through, and this is where Brennan's talking about. This could be done with anger and or sadness. Every time you start to notice those things, get curious with the emotion and try to identify the value behind the emotion, and then practice self-compassion. Allow yourself to say, I am feeling angry right now. This is human. Everybody feels it sometimes. And the truth is, and then blank, you talk to yourself like you're your best friend. Truth is, you're going to get through this. It's okay for you to be upset. It's hitting on certain things that you value. You valued things like fidelity and respect and trust and honesty, and you didn't get those things. And your body's just doing what it was built to do because of that. So the art project, the self-compassion part of it, and then the justice part, this is going to sound weird, but you've already been hitting on this a little bit, is to take the boundaries, take the values that you've identified and start setting boundaries accordingly as you move forward in your relationship. And those boundaries based off of values actually allow you to start releasing the grip on how you feel about him, because it's no longer really about him. You start to actually put yourself in a spot where you can interact in ways that you won't resent him because your boundaries are in place now. And you're going through that process right now with the mediation. That's going to bring up a lot of emotion anyway. But when you start to have those healthy boundaries based on those values, that will facilitate moving to that last place of the grieving process, which is acceptance of things as they are. Not that you like it, but being able to make decisions based on the reality of the situation you find yourself in, and have more peace while you do it. So I've just said a whole lot there, Sandra. Anything stand out to you, or what are you noticing or feeling?
Gosh, all of it's good. I've been taking notes. I got a little bit of excitement to go do this stuff because it feels tangible. It feels like something I can actively do to keep myself moving through this process. Yeah, I mean, all of it makes sense. The ambiguous loss, there certainly is a ton there, and there are certain things that were coming up. And so I'm really looking forward to doing this, to figuring out what all of those different pieces are. But as you were just describing it, I mean, I had lots of things flying in for what I'm sad that I may not have in the form that I thought I would have it. And the other piece, oddly, that like resonated a lot is when talking about the validation, and even if I'm the only one doing the validation, just that is important. And in all this time that I've been dealing with all of this, just yesterday, I looked in the mirror and I looked at myself and I talked to myself and I said, yeah, you have been betrayed. Sandra, you have been betrayed. He really hurt you. Really shitty things. You didn't deserve that. I can't tell you the change that it made. I mean, it was a quick conversation with myself, and the change that it made, I just never thought it would. I never thought talking to myself would actually do something like that, but it was looking at myself in the mirror and doing that. And so yeah, I'm going to do that too. And also I can do that with a friend and who is incredibly helpful. And the values, I love getting back to my values. So, and I don't know that I've often connected that with emotions specifically. So that feels like another, I don't know, these just are really good. I'm really excited. These are good tools that I haven't, really used before. So, yeah.
Sandra, I just want to kind of add even some more to it. So you bring up the validation piece, validation of your pain. It's amazing what it does when somebody holds space for you and empathizes with you as you process what you're feeling. And what I believe is actually happening is you are actually moving energy out of you. You're allowing it to release by being able to be heard, and that love from somebody else can really help with that. But when it comes to so that means it does concern me a little bit when you're saying, I don't know if I can tell my family, but I'm glad to hear you have a friend that is there for you, that can be a listening ear, validate and hold that space for you to help you move that energy. I've done, and I think Tyler has too, I've done groups with I've done activities with groups of betrayed partners where we've thrown glass against walls, we burned things, and we have gotten angry together. Like we come and we get angry. We yell, scream.
We've buried stuff before.
Yeah, like we're pissed, and we express it. We feel it. We don't tell ourselves, oh, especially for women, like women shouldn't be angry, right? Bull BS, right? Like, you need to feel what you're feeling. I have here on my phone, like my anger playlist is right here. And you know what? When I need it, I turn it on and it gets going, and it's just like, I feel it. And if you allow yourself to scream, cry, throw the glass in a safe way, eventually you get to a place where it's like, I don't want to be angry anymore. Like it's weird. Like I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move forward. So if you, in a very calculated way, but not too calculated because you have to just let it flow, but in a safe way, if you allow yourself to process journaling, for you to have an anger journal right now could be awesome for you. And if, as you write in it, like the pen tears the pages a little bit and there's a lot of, swear words in there, that's great. That's okay because it's there in that journal, right? And with the goal in mind of we're trying to move beyond this stage of grief. We're not trying to just feed it and stay stuck in it. We're trying to move beyond this stage of grief, but to allow yourself to actually do some of those things.
Yeah. Okay.
I could give you a bunch more of ideas too and examples, but I'm sure you can come up with your own. So
I'm sure if you were to make your way over to like Utah, Brannon would actually go out and do those things with you. So
oh, hey, yeah, Tyler can get his guns out and we can
blow some stuff up if
put
you
some
want.
targets out.
I love it.
Yeah.
What's going through you right now, Sandra? Are you getting the help you need today?
Definitely. I mean, yeah. And I'd say even more so than I thought. I had sort of envisioned that maybe you guys were going to tell me what he's going through, why he's, this wounded individual and da da da. And I was open to that being helpful. And this is different. And I just it feels really helpful. It feels really good. I do, if this isn't too much of a tangent, I would love to get your feedback on the thoughts of telling my family and maybe what the best way to do that is, because right off the bat, I mean, I know they're going to be very protective of me and be incredibly angry with him and grieving their own things. And so I don't know the best way to do that, how much information to share with them and how much to withhold. So I don't know if you have thoughts on that, but if you do, I would love to hear them.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll just scratch off all my notes about have compassion for him too. Like we'll just
I still would
skip that part.
I'm still happy to hear that. I just thought that was going to,
No, truthfully, that is another way to kind of let the heart release, is to find the humanity in the other person eventually, but that will come with time and continued wrestle. Yeah. Let's talk about how to talk to your family. Like, I guess what kind of relationship do you have with your family? Is it a close one? Are they a big support role in your life? Is it just more of a peripheral kind of a thing?
No, great relationship. They are very supportive, but they are also, I think, judgmental. And I am too, to a part, certainly. I think I know the better way. I mean, that is part of what led to the difficulties with me and my soon-to-be ex, is just, me thinking I know better, me thinking that my values are the right ones and you should be doing X or Y, or nobody should ever treat somebody this way. And so I think they're just going to have a really hard time with the specifics of this, knowing that he has been unfaithful and that he has been unfaithful for a long time. They themselves are going to feel betrayed. So I think that it's going to be really difficult. And then, so I haven't mentioned this. I didn't know if it would be relevant or if we could get through all of this without this information. But at this stage, I think it is relevant, which is, he did sleep with this other woman again, not intending to have any future or anything with her. And it turns out she is now pregnant and adamant about keeping the child. So there is going to be another child in the mix. And so my family will inevitably find out about that at some point. And so that is another piece. I think if they find out about that today, that might be pretty terrible. So I don't know when the right point is.
They don't, do they not know about any of the infidelity?
They do not. What they know about is when he left. So we've been married for over a decade, and at a point in there, he left and said, I am just unhappy. I don't love you the way that I think I should. I was just totally blindsided. I did a lot of work on myself. My family held me up during that time. They totally took care of me. I mean, I was lost. It actually has made this process, this next round of us, really divorcing, I would say easier. I think I'm a lot stronger because of that. So that is all they know about, is that he left because he was unhappy, he was depressed, that we worked on things. They don't know that during the time that we were initially together, that he was even unfaithful then. I didn't know either when we got back together. I mean, that was part of the trickle truth, is that he didn't tell me about that early. So I'm going back into the archives, but they do not know about any infidelity. I think they would be hugely disappointed.
Go ahead, Tyler. I have a lot of thoughts. Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see if we agree on these things, Brannon. If you're using them as a support system and you can trust them, of course it's nice of you to be worried about what their response is going to be to him for the sake of being effective overall. But it's also not very healthy to keep secrets. That's gonna cause more strain and stress on your relationships with the people who are actually trying to support you. And I think
and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, and I think in a certain sense, and this is just me, I believe that the best possible outcomes are for any situation are outcomes that include the truth. And so you can be factual in the way that you talk with your family without inserting a lot of other negativity, and you could even ask them to try to temper their own negativity because you're only sharing with them so that they can give you the support that you need. But I think it's not like they're not going to find out about another child. It's not like they're not going to find out about the fact that you guys have gone through a divorce, and if they're supporting you, there's nothing wrong with a couple of the details being shared. You don't have to go into the depths of it all, but having the details shared of some of the bigger issues as to why, I think that's totally appropriate.
Tyler, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, it's everything Tyler just said. The reality is you not speaking facts is caretaking for him, and you speaking facts isn't talking crap on him. It's not it's consequences of his behavior. And
Brannon, can I
yes.
interject for a second? So that's interesting, because there have been times when I have talked just about the facts of you did X, whatever it is. And he says, there you go again, taking a pound of flesh. And it is just the facts. It is not anything, and I've even responded that way of you might feel that way, but I am just stating things that have actually happened. I'm not adding color to it. I'm not, name calling.
Yeah. So that's a classic turn the table. Let's make this about Sandra being mean, and she's mean because she just stated the facts of what you did, of what. So it's not about Sandra. Like if Tyler said, I usually lean toward the truth coming out. And sometimes truth is painful, and your family's going to have to go through their own grieving process with that. It sounds like you have a family that loves you a lot and cares about you a lot. And yesterday, my daughter had a little situation at school. She was getting bullied a little bit. And when she told me about it, my blood boiled, and I wanted to go to the school and rip into these kids. Right. But then, I kind of heard the situation, and, And I felt like I don't need to jump in the middle of this. And my blood boiling, I can act in a way that's effective for everybody. But man, like, I'm so glad she told me about it, and she cried, and I processed it with her, and she felt so much better afterwards. And I was there for her. And if she would have protected those kids instead of allowing me to be there for her, that would have sucked. I want to be there for her, right?
Yeah.
And to Tyler's point, you can ask them, like, look, please don't do this. Or, it wouldn't be helpful if you reamed him out, or, spoke badly in front of our child, about him. So please try not to do that. But I need to tell you what's actually going on.
Yeah, I just echo again what Brannon just said there, that if you need to know why you're sharing the facts, and if you're sharing the facts to be vindictive, then your heart's not going to get better. If you're sharing the facts so that people who can support you know the reality of your situation, and it happens to be that he doesn't like the facts, he can start working on changing the facts in the future. The facts are going to be the facts no matter what. That's just the truth. So he's trying to protect his supposed honor by having everybody lie about the things that are the truth. And he'll never actually gain his real honor if he has to hide behind everybody lying for him. So it could be, and this is going to sound really backwards, and I don't want you to use it as justification to do it from a bitter heart, but it could be the kindest thing you could do is to just live in the truth.
Yeah.
And then he can figure out how to survive in the truth rather than pretending all of the time when he's dropping off your child at the grandparents' house, thinking that they think one thing about him or one thing about the facts, when in reality it's something totally different. He can learn to deal with that. And your parents, there was a comment down here that I thought was really good by Wendy that just says, allow them to have their feelings, but you can set the tone for how they speak around your child and how they speak of him.
Yeah.
I really like that.
That's well put.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Sandra, we're running low on time. I just want to thank you again for coming on, having the courage to be here. I really do hope it was helpful for you. And you are a huge help to other people in your situation, because there's a lot of people in these tough situations not knowing what to do. So to hear you and hear your story and hear us reflect back the things we think is really helpful. So thank you.
Thank you both. I mean, you've been instrumental in this process and my healing journey. I just really appreciate it. I mean, it's tough to express the gratitude in words, but deep gratitude from me.
Well, thank you, Sandra. It's been kind of a treat to see you in 3 different phases of your own journey now. I think all of us are kind of hoping we never talk to you again. And
agree.
And if we talk to you again, it'll be cool to see another snapshot of your journey. So wish you the very best of luck. Hopefully this is helpful for the people listening. If you or somebody you know would benefit from this content, or you want to throw a shout out to Sandra, you can do that through the comment section on YouTube. You can do it through the review system on any of the podcast places where you listen. We are so grateful to have the community that we have, and glad that you're here with us. And until next time, you guys, keep on keeping on.